public at large, the word sniper conjures an image of the lone maniac with a gun. Over the years, the numerous incidents of misfits firing on innocent strangers have proven that sniping has become a growth industry among the deranged. Ethnic conflicts around the globe assault us with a televised barrage of images showing damage done by snipers. Sniper is a bad word in any language. The lone maniac and the political zealot may get the news coverage. However, there is a separate breed of sniper that is the antithesis of these gutless killers. The professional sniper, whether working in the law enforcement or military community, represents the ultimate force in the tactical response arena.
What attracted me to sniping was just follow-on training, more skills. Being a professional in the SEALs, you know, you're always searching for another attribute that can make you a better SEAL. And being a sniper was like reaching towards the top, and that's why I went for it. It's one of the top jobs in the teams. As a sniper, we impact the team by providing a very professional, highly skilled, small group of individuals available to the unit commanders to collect information for platoons, for FIBRON commanders, for anybody out there. We also can provide highly skilled shooting at long ranges. And this just provides another asset for the SEAL team commander in accomplishing many of his missions that he's assigned.
I don't worry about missing. If you miss, you get right back up and take another shot. Most of the shots that police snipers take are within 60 to 75 yards of their target. With the type of weapons that are available to us and the training that a good sniper goes through, it's going to be real hard for him to miss. You know, there are probably things that could happen. You know, Murphy's Law can kick in at any time. The subject could sneeze, you know, who knows. But when you pull the trigger, you know that the round's going to go where you want it to go, and he's going to go down.
While there are a host of differences between military and police snipers, probably the most fundamental difference is that under no condition are losses ever acceptable in a law enforcement situation. Neither losses of police officers, losses of hostages. In a military operation, unfortunately, losses are part of the business. There's a certain level of casualties that are acceptable, although regrettable. The police sniper is never in a situation where administrators will say 2% or 5% or 10% losses are acceptable. That's never the case.
One shot, one kill is the sniper's creed. The law enforcement sniper operates under pressure, which has no parallel in other police work. He shoulders the responsibility for the safety of hostages, bystanders, his fellow officers, and the entry team in a barricade situation. At the same time, he must remain alert and ready to fire that one shot if he is called upon to do so. Most of all, regardless of the weather, regardless of the hour, and regardless of his personal discomfort, a sniper waits. SWAT sniper Lieutenant Bob Courtwright describes the job.
I have to know that I'm able to hit where I need to hit to incapacitate this guy immediately. So there's absolutely no chance of him being able to harm any of the hostages or any of my team members. Okay, what I do when I get into position is almost invariably you have to raise the stock of the weapon because you're going to be shooting up higher than what your barrel is going to be pointed. So I use a towel because it's easy to adjust it to different heights, and it also gives it a firm support for the stock of the weapon. Just keeps the weapon that much more stable. Now when you get down behind the rifle, try and get as much of your body behind it as you can. I like to bring my left arm up around and cradle the stock in my hand. That also helps me squeeze this towel to change the elevation of the rifle when I'm looking down range. Grab the pistol grip of the stock with my right hand. It also helps steady it. And then I go ahead and get my spot weld on the stock with my cheek so I can get the proper eye relief so the scope doesn't bite me and I also have no shadowing in the scope when I look through it. And this is a real comfortable position right here. You know where your spot weld is going to be, and you can automatically get on it when you get on the rifle. I have my legs spread apart. Just it gives me a wider base. It's comfortable, keeps me lower to the ground, reduces the silhouette. It gives me a broad base of support to help absorb some of the recoil from the rifle. It's just a real comfortable position. Another variation, you can raise your right leg up, which takes a little of the pressure off of your chest cavity, makes it a little easier to breathe. If you've been in position a long time, you can change your position, helps your breathing some. There's just a few different ways that you shoot into prone. Usually a general thing that a sniper can use for his aim is anywhere between the eyebrow and the top of the lip. Depending on your angle, what you're looking to hit is the medulla oblongata. You either want to hit it with your round, or you want to cause a fluid shock from your round striking into the brain cavity, that it disrupts electrical signals that are put out by the medulla, and the person doesn't even have time to blink his eyes before he's dead. It instantly incapacitates a person. If you can't get a headshot, then the next place you need to try is somewhere high up on the spinal column, preferably the lower back of his head, any place from his shoulder blades up. If you can get a shot in the spine like that, it's not as instantaneous as a shot that takes out the medulla, but there's going to be very, very little reaction time for the subject. It's important that you never do anything in real time that you haven't done in training. Murphy's Law is always going to kick in. You have to know your capabilities, and if you haven't practiced something, doing it in real life is not the time to try. Well, it all comes back to training. Every time you take a shot in training, you're thinking about doing this in real life. You're shooting paper. A lot of times we'll just shoot a silhouette target, but sometimes we'll take pages out of a magazine or something like that with some realistic looking people on there and paste them up and actually shoot it. And I've taken my rifle home sometimes, and unbeknownst to my neighbors and friends, have held a scope on them. And it's a lot different holding a scope on a live person than it is on a paper silhouette. Even though you know the bolt's out of the rifle and you know nothing's wrong, this guy's your best friend or your neighbor, you're still put the scope on him. So you can see how people's faces, just a little bit of a change in the way they hold their head is going to cause a difference in the impact of your round. So you really need to experience that before you can do the job properly. Another thing you have to remember is you might, 2 years from now, happen to be tell a judge why you took that shot. So you have to be real knowledgeable of your use of force policy, why you took the shot, when you took it, whether it was on your own initiative or whether you were ordered to. You have to be able to articulate the facts and circumstances at the time you actually pulled the trigger and took somebody's life.
The police sniper is subject to the incredible stress of all the television cameras in the world on tall buildings beyond the perimeter, watching his every step as he's taking that 3.5 pounds of trigger pull in, and having all the defense attorneys and civil attorneys in the world second-guessing him for the next 10 years as he's taking that 3.5 pounds of trigger pressure, versus the military sniper, the pressure he's under is, what do I do next? Not to evade attorneys, but to evade the bad guys who are liable to react to this shot.
The military sniper has been around centuries longer than their law enforcement counterparts. In every major war, sniper teams have successfully worked behind enemy lines to gather valuable information. In addition to neutralizing enemy leaders, movements of troops and supplies are observed and reported by the sniper. His intelligence gathering skills combined with shooting prowess to make the military sniper a proficient lifesaver as well as an efficient life taker.
Sniping is very effective in supporting a platoon in a myriad of ways. One is just that the snipers hope hopefully one of the best shots in the platoon. So he can engage targets further away, lessening the impact of the platoon being engaged closer in. He can also provide intelligence gathering. He's well skilled at stalking and getting into places ahead to provide information back to the platoon commander on what's happening with his target or just along the route of march that he's going, so the platoon commander can make a better assessment of how he's going to get there without engaging the enemy per se. Right. Snipers don't work as lone wolves. Snipers work in a team, and teams may work in conjunction with one another, so there may be multiple teams out there. But they stalk together, they train together, they shoot together. They'll get into an observation area, set up their defenses and set up their optics and their radios, and they'll observe targets and or people, whatever it is they're out to observe, take pictures, send information back to their seniors. Those are some of the things that they'll do as a team. How do we stay alert under arduous conditions? It's difficult at times. It really is. In particular, if you're on observations and you're looking through binoculars or telescopes for long periods of times, after a while it feels like your eyes are being sucked out the other end of the binoculars because you're looking through them so long. You set up routines with your partner. You know, maybe only 30 minutes on the binoculars for a time, and you'll roll off. You'll provide security. He'll go on the binoculars, and he'll observe for a while. There's always one person awake to cover that. If you're in a position to do it, you'll even maybe try, if you're going to be there for a while, to do a little bit of exercising, even if it's isometric exercising, just to exercise the muscles so that you can stay tuned up a little bit better. Because if you lay basically in a prone position for a couple of days without moving, you're going to get very sleepy, tired, and it comes time to get up and move, you're going to almost can't even move. And also, depending on the weather, how severe the weather is, it can impact on you greatly.
I think the biggest challenge is learning to take things slow, and you have to be stealthy all the time. You can't just rush into things. Sometimes you tend to look at things in an emotional sense, and you have to sit back for a little bit and let that pass, and then move into the proper mindset, take it slow and methodical, and do things the right way, tactically sound.
Well, our stress isn't, it's not the public stress that you would see with the law enforcement snipering. It's more of a personal stress and just the stress of wanting to accomplish your mission properly and support your teammates, because basically the stress is you're trying to take care of them and do what your mission commanders, team commanders need you to do in your job. Sniping, being out in the field in general is it's a stressful environment just because you're out there in a different environment that especially we as Americans aren't normally used to. It's being out there in the field, different environments, the Arctic, the jungle, the desert, depending on where you're operating. So it is different, stressful, and the factors out there of people you're working against is a stressful environment. And again, if I think to alleviate the stress or to reduce it is the old putting into a game type perspective.
Many of the services, not many, all the services have the same complaint of misuse of snipers in all their missions. And it's been historically the same. Only after an operation, or I should say a protracted operation, develops, do they finally come to the understanding of what the snipers are capable of doing, and then they finally get implemented. The short operations, such as Just Cause, things like that, there are certain groups that potentially utilize their snipers, but the vast majority of large units in the Army, and the Marines, they don't have a chance to get their snipers employed because the unit commander doesn't understand how to utilize them. It usually takes a protracted evolution for them to finally understand how he can use them and get them into the field, and then they start getting results. The kill, I hate to say this, but the kill ratio is significantly higher with the snipers than with a standard combatant troop. And it's so that in itself is a better bang for your bucks in a protracted evolution.
The most fundamental equipment differences between law enforcement snipers and military snipers is in optics. While both are probably equipped with a rifle of .308 caliber or 7.62 millimeter, and it's usually a bolt-action rifle, fiberglass or some kind of composite material stock, and it would be equipped with a bipod and perhaps an adjustable butt. The optics of a military sniper rifle today are pretty well 10 power fixed. The U.S. Marine Corps is now using a Unertl 10 power fixed, and the Army is using a 10 power Leupold M3 Alpha scope. The reason is because there are less moving parts, there are less things that can go wrong, there are less things that can break, and therefore it's more rugged for that military field environment. A law enforcement sniper, on the other hand, he has to be more concerned about closer shots than a 10 power scope. So therefore, and it's a less an environment in which there's less likely to be damage to the scope. So therefore, he has a scope that's a zoom with as light as a 3.5 power, zooms up to 10 or even 12 power. The particular scope powers that I've seen in use by law enforcement more than any others, 3.5 to 10 power. Today, Leupold makes such a scope exactly that power range, as Macmillan has just come out with a similar scope. And one thing to take into account, keep in mind, is that more so than anything else on a sniping system, the single component that is most likely to break or be damaged is that rifle scope. And that's why, in fact, both law and military snipers carry their rifles around in hard cases to protect that scope.
Elite military units operate in conditions that will never be encountered by law enforcement agents. Some of the special weapons in the SEAL Armory would be considered overkill for any civilian agency. As you may have guessed, SEAL team snipers have a few tricks up their sleeves for those special occasions when standard issue just won't do.
Come to our special weapons, the 50 cal sniper rifle with the Leupold scope or the Unertl scope, and you're talking a devastating combination. This is what you can take out an airplane with on an airfield. Just fire one round at it and we'll wipe it out. And guys like that, because we don't even have to get close. You know, I like it. This is a rifle weapon sight. This one is known as the Litton M85. 845, that's what it's called. This thing, the snipers mount at night. It gives you a nice little red dot that no one can see. They put that thing on the target and drop the guy. And that's what's so nice about this thing. It's got ranges almost up to 300 meters. And the only problem with this is sometimes the vibration of the weapon will shake it off. But they figured out ways to go around that too. What they really like to do with this thing is they like to put it in a helicopter at night, and then we come down on the ship, and the snipers are sitting in the helicopter just watching everything you do, and you got all these nice little patches on your arm, so he knows who you are, and then if anybody gets in his way, he just puts the red dot on them, and they're no longer a problem. So the night vision systems are really coming into play in the modern SEAL teams. And then you have the granddaddy of all radios, the satellite communications, a TACSAT. This is an LST-5. It's the nicest system. What you have here is your antenna. It's directional. You just give it an uplink and downlink. In other words, you put it on a bearing and an elevation. It hits the satellite, gets a good bounce, which means the satellite's receiving it, and then you're talking to the radio. All this is encrypted. So in other words, they can never hear what you're saying, and it's very hard to DF on. But we also go short. If you do want to go short, on the HF or this radio, this is DMDG. What we do here is we type in our message, and then it stores it, and then it bursts it out in 1 second with a whole bunch of beeping. So it's just a burst device. So rather than talking on the radio for a long time, we can just type in all our information, da-da-da-da-da, and then burst it out over the satellite or over the HF waves, and then they get it, decrypt it, and they got all the info.
The equipment has gotten smaller, it's gotten lighter, it's gotten more weather resistant. All of these items have made the job, I'm not going to say easier, but we're more efficient, more reliable. And all of this pays off in the end results of providing information back to the unit commander or taking a shot, if that's what the job is. But high technology has moved itself into the sniper realm, and it is really, really helping a lot. Days of old, all they had was an M14 and no radio, and they were just out there on their own. But today we're in touch with the unit commanders hundreds and hundreds of miles away while we're out on a stalk.
No matter how high-tech the gear is, it's only as good as the man who operates it. The success of any sniper mission depends on the man more than the machine. For that reason, a sniper's training must be constant and consistent to preserve his highly perishable shooting skills.
Okay, where police and military snipers really are identical is in their training of developing skills and preparing themselves mentally to master their rifle and master those skills. Mastering marksmanship so that they can hit any target they aim at. Mastering fieldcraft, so let's say they can read the wind so that they can camouflage themselves, select hides correctly. And finally, in the area of tactics, so that they can evaluate a situation, react to it, anticipate, etc. They can move with some kind of cohesion as to the situation. The big difference between them, here's the flip side, is how they apply it.
Recognizing their value in training, several departments and agencies are beginning to organize sniper competitions that allow professional snipers to hone their skills. Sniper Craft of Fort Lauderdale holds competitions in South Florida that draw professional snipers from all over the eastern seaboard. Sniper teams compete in events designed to test their shooting skills under physically and mentally stressful conditions. Involving teamwork, physical exertion, and speed challenge even the most seasoned competitors. The weekend-long contests are a learning experience that teach each man his limitations.
Did you hit him, Fred?
Yeah.
Where?
But they said it's not going to count because
he was running? You took the shot while you were supposed to be observing. You did not have a green light.
I kept saying it, though. I kept calling the radio.
Yeah, you were on the radio. It doesn't matter.
You guys coming back so soon.
We fucking up. We fucking up big time.
Sorry, we didn't get shit out of that.
I just talked to somebody who came off the line who was upset at his performance. He had been shooting perfectly straight bullseye training, and it was because he did not shoot as well as he expected here under stress and in competition that he could go away. This became a learning experience. He can apply it to his training. He's learned that bullseye is good for confirming zero. He knows now that he has to also do stress in the drills that his team uses.
Well, we're trying to put teams into situations, real life type situations, and this puts them under pressure. As you notice, some of the people have weapon malfunctions. You're going to have that on the street. We want them to learn it here, and so they can they're able to cope with that on the street, because Murphy Law plays into everything, especially when a real life situation.
I think they're getting an education today.
No.
They're finding out. They're finding out what it is to shoot under stress. Probably some of them for the first time in their careers. But it's a good thing. This is a place to learn.
So we're talking about fractions of an inch because we're taking scores. In the real world, this is a kill shot, this is a kill shot, this is. They're all kill shots. After shooting in that, no reflex zone in the head.
Probably most of the events that we've been in are some of the best training that we've been subjected to because of the type of situation. You're never going to just go in, sit there, and wait to take your shot. You're usually going to have to crawl in. It's going to be hot, it's going to be bad conditions, bad weather conditions, and most of the time the information you get is very vague or it's not any good at all when you go in. So the situations that we've had have been real life-like.
In addition to shooting skills, the shootout participants improve their craft through memory tests, seminars, and by networking with other law enforcement professionals.
First of all, whenever you bring SWAT officers together like this and allow them to compete against one another, so you have that stress of competition, plus some of these events have the added physical stress of exercises and the induced stress of time. You put all that together, and it's not just competition, it's also good training for the officers involved. This is the kind of training that obviously police sharpshooters should be conducting all across the country.
Through the works of organizations such as Snipercraft and the writings of experts such as Major John Plaster, members of the professional sniper community stay in touch with technology and with each other. Calmly and quietly, the professional sniper performs his service out of the public spotlight. Whether he is called upon to fire or not, he is the backbone of most tactical operations. Ironically, because of the media's tendency to label every nut with a gun as a sniper, Americans will probably always associate the word with the mentally unsound. In the realm of the professional sniper, nothing could be further from the truth. The sniper is probably the most disciplined member of any tactical unit, both physically and mentally. Because lives always hang in the balance, he has to be.
Well, I think about the hostage a lot. You have to make sure that that they're out of the line of fire, because you know, this .308 round, it could go right through somebody's head or through their body, and it could still cause injury to a hostage. You're looking. That's one of the things you consider before you tell your team commander, your team leader, that you have a good shot and you're ready to initiate the rescue.
I would not want a plain hard cold killer or a thrill killer. Because number one, what is motivating them? Are they out there to execute a mission and follow orders? Are they thrill seekers who think that there's some kind of pleasure to be gained by killing people? They're not controllable, they're not predictable. Therefore, they have no business in military or police operations. But still, what causes really professional military snipers and police snipers to prevail over opponents is they are always thinking 2 steps ahead, and they tend to play chess while their opponents are playing checkers.
In identifying potential candidates for sniper school, the number one is patience. That is the number one attribute that a sniper needs to have, is patience. Slow and methodical. That's the key words for a sniper. Then you move on into being very professional, capable of making sound decisions. Obviously being a good shot, or being able to be trained to be a good shot, and having an understanding of weaponry and ballistics. And then just another, being a sound SEAL. If we can get all those attributes together, after we get them into the course, they can be trained in the rest of the attributes that they need to know and learn to become a really good, solid sniper for a platoon commander and for a team commander. We're going to most likely be supporting our platoon, our shipmates, potentially a Marine company of supporting, because we do work hand in hand. And so yes, in that sense, we are saving lives. And that's just good business, good business.